So earlier we were talking about in last class about employee life cycle. So we continue from that place, and as already we have talked about, employee life cycle consists of 6 stages, starting from attraction, then recruitment, onboarding, development, retention, and separation. So these are the 6 steps. As already we have talked about, start from the attraction, which is concerned uh, with provide pro, is concerned with like the advertisement is being given by the organization who wants to hire, how an organization can attract the potential candidate to be part of it. So that is the process of attraction. They approach candidate through various means, through referral means, through the job portals, through consultants, etc. And on the part of the potential candidate, whenever they find some opportunity, they apply for it. After this stage of this is the first stage of employee life cycle. Then the recruitment process takes place based on their applications, based on their assessment, various level of interviews, interactions. Finally, offer letters are given to the concerned people who have been selected. So those people join the organization. So first attraction, then recruitment take place. When these people join the organization, they are basically providing the orientation known as onboarding, which consists of first making them familiar with the organization, making them aware about the basic processes, standard operating procedures, the cultures of the organization, providing them basic understanding of their job, what they will be doing in the organization. If required, then providing the basic training related to their work only, making them providing the interaction with their colleagues, with their supervisors, with the key officials. So it's basically a process where a known person become part of the organization. Then a person starts working with the organization, and throughout his or her career in that particular organization, then learning and development takes place in order to enhance his skills, competencies, or based on the requirement, whatever new things he or she has to learn. It is a task of HR to provide that development up to that person, as well as providing some opportunity if the in-house programs are not being conducted. So providing some opportunities for the personal growth of that particular individuals in the organization. Now, after some time, maybe months or maybe years, the people start thinking of leaving the organization. There may be different regions. So if HR come to know that people are about to leave the organization, then HR interact with all of them, try to find out the regions, try to negotiate. Maybe there are some issues which can be sorted out. So HR try to sort out those issues, and there is the retention process. However, during this process, some people may agree or some may not agree. For some problems sorted out, so they be with the organization and they leave their intention to leave the organization. However, there are people who may think that no, they want to go out of this organization. So last is separation or the exit, where a person leave the organization. So these 6 are the important steps of employee life cycle. Then another important concept is people analytic cycle. People analytic cycle is nothing but the analytic process that we have already talked about in the unit number 1. Analytic cycle is already we have talked about. There are 7 stages, starting from determining stakeholder requirements, then defining HR research and analytical agenda, identifying the data source, data collection, transforming the data or applying the analytics on the data, then communicating the findings to the concerned person, to the stakeholders, then enable strategy and decision making. This already we have talked about this HR analytic process in detail in unit 1. Now, another important concept with respect to this HR analytics is agile framework. Agile framework was developed initially in the uh, area of the software development. There are number of the approaches are there. There are number of the approaches for software development, and recently the agile framework have been incorporated in software development process. So agile framework is mainly concerned with adopting the new way of developing the software or changing the mindset. So it is having some of the important guidelines with respect to agile framework, or we can say the approach is agile if it is concerned with the following key things. One is it's all about the customer. Ultimately, the software or any product to be delivered to the customer. So everything is to be done for the customer. So there is regular interaction with the customer, and as well as when some software is being developed, there are various prototypes, and the first prototype is to be delivered to customer as early as possible. So it is not like that the complete software will be developed and then only it will be it will be delivered to the concerned customer. Then embrace change, be flexible, continuously update. It means the process is not rigid. Rigid in the sense that all the things are decided at the initial stage, and then there is no scope for flexibility. Agile framework says that one should accept the changes which are occurring during the development process, and the process should be as flexible as possible. Then deliver frequently. Customer should not wait till the end of the development of the software to get final version, but there should be intermediate deliverables. The software consisting of different functionalities. So different versions can be delivered from time to time. It will help customer to understand the software, as well as it will help customer to provide the feedback to the concerned person in order to enhance the or in order to strengthen the software being developed. So it is in agile framework, these are delivered frequently. Then another important aspect of agile framework is working collaboratively. So one cannot work alone. All persons concerned need to work jointly in order to achieve the common objective. So it's all about the team. Team is very, very important phenomenon as far as the agile work is concerned. And in agile framework, people are motivated and empowered. Empowered means they are giving number of the choices for their decision making rather than doing the micromanagement. Then they focus mainly on face-to-face communication, not in communication in virtual environment, because a virtual environment provide flexibility, is having so many advantages, but the person to person connect may be missing in this virtual environment as compared to when one is directly interacting face to face with the other party. So agile framework focus on face to face communication where to the extent it is possible, that help to understand the things in a better way. And it also is also about the communication, including both verbal as well as non-verbal. Then maintaining a sustainable pace. So work-life balance is very, very important. It's not all about the work, or it's not all about the family or personal life. It's about the balancing these two. So uh, agile framework is uh, emphasize on work-life balance. Then keep it simple, very, very important. Rather than making things complex, try to solve the things in a very, very simple way. So keep it simple. One, reflect whatever has been done, reflect on it. What things need to be changed. If there is some feedback is there, which will help to strengthen the things. So it is mainly in the area of project management, product development, and it is being used in HR. So Agile HR, it's a process where all principles of agility are being used in the case of HR. So in order to enhance efficiency effectiveness, all these things are being used in HR. For example, if we talk about recruitment process, one thing is to think recruitment process as a holistic process and focusing on the final outcome. On the contrary, it can be broken down into different stages with clearly defined goals and regular check-ins at each and every stage. So rather than waiting the complete process, rather than waiting the process to be completed, it's focused on completion of the number of the stages, which will further enhance the performance of the HR people. Then another important aspect of agile framework is continuous feedback. Feedback is very, very important. So rather than waiting for the end of the term, maybe year wise performance appraisal, there should be regular feedback for the candidates. So it will help to improve the things. Then personalized onboarding, like a person who has joined the organization. Onboarding is the first stage where has started uh, building connections with the organization, and that's why onboarding is a very important phenomena. So sometimes rather than making this process more mechanical, there some personal touch is to be given to the employee who has joined the organization. Or from the perspective of HR can consider the new joining as a customer, and one has to provide the customer satisfaction. So a person who has joined the organization, if he is giving that much attention, tomorrow he or she will be asset. He start developing that connections with the organization. Then iterative improvement. Improvement cannot be done on one single stretch. It requires continuous, it's a continuous process. So at various stages, including onboarding, some iterative improvement can be worked. These are some of the examples of agile framework in the case of HR. Another important training on regular interval, training on the needs of the employee. Then regular survey in order to find whether my employees are happy or not, in order to identify what are the problems they are facing, in order to understand their feelings towards the organization. So the conducting of the surveys on the regular interval will provide those insights, and if HR knows those insights, then corrective actions can be taken. Then another important concept is HR value chain. HR value chain is basically providing the linkage of HR to the other functions of the organization, or we can think it in terms of how HR is providing value to the organization. HR is not only just about the functions allotted to it. Even if I am doing recruitment, how recruitment is having impact on the other aspects of the organization, or how recruitment is providing value to the organization. So if we see starting from first stage, that is efficiency, HR analytics focusing on the various aspects of HRM, like workforce planning, then recruitment and selection, compensation, IR, training, learning and development, talent management, coaching, etc. So there are number of the things on the part of HR focusing on the efficiency. For example, in the case of recruitment, in the case of recruitment, what about the efficiency of my recruitment process? Am I justifying the cost, the budget allotted to it? Am I doing the process in a given time frame? And as already we have seen that there are number of the matrices available with respect to recruitment, and some of them like cost per hire or time to hire. So those two metrics we have already talked about. So it's all about the efficiency. So HR and is concerned with enhancing the efficiency by using those matrices as we have already talked about, like cost per hire, I am having the current data. Now, if I already having this data of last few years, then I can compare myself and whether my process has improved or not. If the data is available across the industry, some industry benchmarking is there, then I can compare my performance with those industry benchmarks. So it is focusing on the efficiency. In the same way, can I use HR analytics in order to identify the training needs of the people? So training need identification, is it possible? Is it possible to identify the training needs of the employees? Using these analytical tools, there are tools available. Then downsizing, coaching, all these are the different aspects as far as the efficiency of the HR is concerned. Now, one is efficiency, another is effectiveness. For example, based on my HR analytics, I can identify my turnover percentage, how many people have left the organization, how many people are not coming to the office regularly. So absenteeism, the percentage of absenteeism with respect to individual person, the team, the department, or the entire organization, that can be computed using HR analytics matrices. So focusing on efficiency. Now, if I know that so many people have left the organization in last 5 years or suppose 3 years, so I'm having data. Now can I do something with that data? Maybe I can identify the causes of people leaving the organization. Maybe I can also predict how many people are about to leave in the next 1 year. So when I talk about effectiveness, that information can effectively be used in order to concern the retention process of employee life cycle. So if I know people are about to leave the organizations, and using diagnostic analytics, I have come to know the different causes. What are the different causes which making people to leave the organization? So I can discuss with the people. I can try to find out the solution. I will try to sort out their issues so that they will be with my organization, because a person who has joined the organization, a lot of training has been given. He or she knows about the various aspects of his task in the organization. So if he or she leaving the organization, whatever the tacit knowledge he or she is having in his or her mind, I am losing that thing. So HRM efficiency results into the effectiveness. And finally, all these things are toward the strategic objective of the organization. For example, if uh, I am recruiting and one matrix is cost per hire. So initially my cost is 50,000 rupees per hiring, and I am coming, I am bringing down, it's suppose 30,000. That is my target. So in order to bring 50,000 to 30,000, I need to make efforts with respect to my HR team. So it is enhancing the effectiveness of my people. And again, that depend on the quality of the person that I have hired, will have impact on effectiveness of my organization. Now, if I'm able to reduce the cost per hire from 50,000 to 30,000 rupees, then I have reduced the cost and will result into the enhancing of the profit. So the impact of this HRT is completely is on the organization. A number of the factors are there. How my HR and analytics aspects are resulting into enhancing the profit of the organization. How these things are resulting into enhancing market value or market share of my organization or my products which are being sold to the customer in that particular market. How my HR analytics results into reducing the turnover, enhancing the productivity. If we have hired people, what are their quality in terms of their working, quality in terms of the interpersonal relationship, so quality in various aspects in the organization, and completely how these things are resulting into customer satisfaction. So whatever HR analytics is doing, the final objective should be that it should be linked to organizational objective. It should be linked with organic profit or the cost or the market set, etc. So this is known as HR value chain, where HR is first focused on enhancing the efficiency of HR, which is resulting into enhancing the effectiveness of HR, and which is resulting into having significant impact on organizational objectives. So again, the same thing in different way. So there are three levels: operational, tactical, and strategic. And HR values, and we are using word level one HR organization focusing on operational things or day-to-day activities of HR department. Then level two HR organization focusing on HR result within the department as well as other department also. And the level three HR organization at the level of strategies. Its impact on the entire organization. This is known as HR value chain. Then the another important topic is with what are those metrics which are resulted into measuring the HR effectiveness. Some of the metrics we have already covered, just to make you understand about the different metrics which are used with respect to HR. So these are the some of the matrices, some of the key matrices. They are total approximately 10 matrix, 10 or 12 matrix. So these are the metrics which basically are concerned with HR effectiveness. There are efficiency and effectiveness, both are different but related terms. Why efficiency is focusing like it's in terms of quantitative value. So we are enhancing our efficiency. The effectiveness is the extent to which whatever it has been done, to what extent they are effective in the organization. So matrices which are concerned about the HR effectiveness are like employee net promoter score. Already we have talked about this matrix. This matrix is concerned about to what extent your employees are ready to provide the reference to the concerned the relatives or the known people to motivate them to join the organization. So if an employee is happy employee, if an employee is satisfied employee, that employee will like his or her no one to be part of this organization. So this is an important metrics with respect to HR effectiveness. Then engagement net, to what extent my employees are engaged with their work. Employee turnover rate, how many people are leaving the organization. So it may be based on monthly or quarterly or yearly. It depends on the requirement of the organization. It is concerned with uh, uh, in how many people are leaving the organization in a given time frame. Then employee retention rate. I have recruited people. How many people are with me? So employee retention rate, to what extent I am able to retain my employees. Then absentee rate. How many people are coming to the office or they are not coming to the office, even whether they are coming office on time or they are not coming office on that time. Now, see, all these things we are focusing on the perspective of having quantitative value. Fine. So everything is being converted in terms of number so that we can compare, we can see the progress. We can compare this with the benchmarking score also. And we can show to the top management that this is the data and this is our own performance. And based on this, we are significantly contributing towards achieving the strategic objectives of the organization. Then training effectiveness. Organization invest so much on learning and development. Number of the courses are there for the employees based on their requirement. The skill and competencies on the part of employees are developed using these various training courses. So we are continuing the courses, but what is the effectiveness? Whether those training courses have made significant influence on the part of the employees or not, or it has not make any significant contribution on the part of the organization. If it has not made any significant contribution, then what is the use of training? And another thing is how one can measure the effectiveness of training. So there are number of the ways available through which the organization or especially the HR department examine the training effectiveness. The new hire performance. Okay, we have hired the new persons. We are having focus on our recruitment process. We are reducing cost per hire or time to hire. But what about those employees who have joined the organization? Whether they are performing well or not. So this is the new hire performance are the matrices which are concerned with measuring the performance of the people. And remember this matrix takes some time. So a person on has joined on some X date, this matrix will be computed after some time, maybe a 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year, depending on the policies of the organization. And this matrix provide whether the person who has been hired is having good performance or not. Then cost per hire, already we have talked about many times with respect to this matrix. Then internal mobility rate, then cost of HR per employees, HR technology return on investment. If organization is focusing on HR analytics and number of technologies are associated with HR. For example, suppose we have to create as a part of HR, we have to create dashboard. Now, how we will create dashboard? So we require some software. Maybe some software are freely available. Maybe some software not freely available for commercial purpose. So if the free softwares are not freely available, we need to buy those softwares. Then we need to have IT infrastructure with respect to this HR. Further, there's a HR information system. With respect to HR information system also, we require IT infrastructure. So organization, if willing to invest in those IT infrastructure for HR purpose, then they also expect what is the return on this investment. So if I am investing in HR analytics, can my HR analytics process have improved in terms of quantitative value. So what is my return on the investment being made on technology with respect to HR is your HR Tech IO. So these are some of the matrices to measure HR effectiveness. Then the topic is competitive edge. All of you know about the competitive edge. What is a competitive edge? Competitive edge is this word itself signify. It's all about the comparison with your competitors. To what extent you are ahead as compared to your competitors. What are those things which are making you to have more competitive edge uh, over your competitors? So competitive edge is a phenomena where you are having some advantage over your competitors. And now how HR analytics can help you in this regard? So the HR analytics can help in number of the ways, a number of the ways. That's one of the simplest way is how your HR analytics data signify the number of the parameters with respect to performance of your organization, performance of your HR, performance of your employees. What type of people it has recruited? What type of people it has recruited? What is the quality of those people? What is the retention rate with respect to those people who have been hired by the organization? If the retention rate is high, it means that you are having competitive edge. You are a good employer. HR analytics helps in the achievement of generating revenue. Now you can think how revenue. Again, all depends on human resource. Generating revenue, you can hire those people who are very innovative. So shows the strength of your recruitment process. If those people are highly innovative, they will try to provide new products and services which will help in generating revenue on the part of organization. Second, like we were talking about many times about very few matrices, like the cost per hire. If cost per hire is decreasing, so it is helping the organization to have more and more revenue. So HR analytics based on the data provides so much insights which helps your top management to take decisions, and those decisions provide the are linked with you achieving your strategic objectives. Then minimizing expenses, mitigating risk. For example, already we have talked about predictive analytics. What happens in predictive analytics? That based on the past or historical data, we are predicting what can happen in the future. And the example that we have taken is, suppose we are having data of people who are leaving the organization. So based on past data, can I identify what are those people? How many people are about to leave the organization in next 1 year? Even to some extent, if data is available to me, I can identify who are those people who may leave the organization next 1 year. If this data is with me, based on my HR analytics, based on my predictive analytics, then I can easily mitigate the risk because I know those are the people who are about to leave. So parallelly, I can make plan to replace those people. I can start my recruitment process early so that before they leave the organization, I have my new team with me. And further, based on this data, predictive analytics, I can assess that people will be leaving next 1 year. So as I already told you, we can hire new people, and we can associate these new people with the existing one who are about to hire. So there will be some overlapping for some period of time. So in during that overlapping, the new people may learn from the existing one, and some of the knowledge that those people are having transfers to these new people. So we are getting their experience to some extent, as well as we are already having our team in place. So if those people leave the organization, it won't have too much effect on my organization. One. Second, I know who are those people who are about to leave. So based on their importance, I can take the corrective measures. Maybe the people who are about to leave the organization, some of them are very important for my organization. And based on my analytics, I have come to know that these are the probable candidates. So before they take final decision to leave the organization, I can discuss with them in order to solve the problem or in order to retain those important people in my organization. Then executing strategic plan, already we have talked about. In order to fulfill the strategic objective of the organization, HR analytics is driven from those strategic objective. So all tasks within HR analytics are directed toward achieving the strategic objectives of the organization. Then checking the pulse of its workplace. One of the things that we have talked about earlier, like survey. We are talking about agile HR, where we are concerned about our people. And one of the current approach with respect to the HR is understand the various attributes associated with employee, like the engagement, job satisfaction, etc., leadership, and how they are linked to each other. So using the survey, using the data collection, HR provide the insights about the mood of the employees, whether they are happy or not. If they are not happy, what are those issues that those are creating problems in organization. So basically using those things, we can check the pulse of the workplace. And if I know my people, I am having insights about those things, it will help me to have competence or my computer. Like I already talked about, I know some people are about to leave. So parallelly, I have hired the people and I have met the new team. So I will not have so much loss when those important people are leaving my organization. So I am, even if they are going to my competitors, I may be having some expertise already in house with respect to the new employees, and I am having my parallel team. So I will not have too much loss. Then employee turnover and movement already we have talked about. Like based on HR analytics, we can think of taking preventive steps in order to reduce the turnover, in order to keep my key persons intact, making them not to leave the organization. And if my HR analytics can tell me well in advance what those probables, then I can take those steps well within the time rather than being late. So in this way, it provides the competitive advantage. Uh, then this HR help HR manager to gain new perspective, how the organization is working, because we are having so much data with us. We are having so much information, insights about the people who are working in the organization, and which can provide us so much insights that what about the future of our organizations, how many people are there, what whether they are innovative or not, in future what type products we can develop, future what type of the skills we need to provide, skill and competencies we need to enhance on the part of employees, so can they can become they be competitive. So all in those all spare, my HR analytics provides significant role. So this is the end of unit number 3. Now we are going to start unit number 4. Now this is unit number 4, concerned with data mining technique. So till now we have covered 3 units, units 1, 2 and 3. Unit 1 is concerned about introduction to HR analytics, then approaches to data analytics, and last unit we covered number of the concepts like people analytics cycle, people life employee life cycle. People analytics cycle is nothing but HR analytics process that we covered in unit number 1. Then agile framework, what is agility, from where it has developed, and how it is being utilized in the case of HR. Then HR value chain, how HR is affecting the entire organization. So starting from efficiency to effectiveness to the entire organization. Then what are the key metrics? There are number of the matrices available. However, we touched upon some of the key matrices which are there to measure HR effectiveness. Then how this HR analytics can provide competitive advantage. In addition to this, the number of the topic like the factors driving employee turnover. Now, there are 2 to 3 different aspects. One, HR analytics will provide you the employee turnover. What is the turnover? Then the second stage, like we have talked about the different type of analytics. In the diagnostic analytics, we can identify number of the factors why people are leaving the organizations. One of the way is that when people are leaving the organization, exit interviews are conducted. So in exit interview, the number of the factors that they are leaving can be identified. However, it might happen that people may not say those factors. So rather than waiting for the people to leave the organization, one of the approach that was with respect to understanding the different factors, different constructs, variables, attributes with respect to HR, and the technique is survey. So like we were talking about agile framework in HR. One of the thing is that assessing the mood of my employees on regular interval. So number of the surveys, uh, observations, in-depth interviews, those are the different techniques that can be utilized in order to understand the factors driving the employee turnover. So HR analytics is very useful in identifying those factors which are making people to leave the organization. In the similar way, how the engagement and performance are linked. Again, the data can be collected and the insights can be found out with respect to those organizations. And uh, if we talk about the link between engagement and performance based on literature, based on the industry people, we can identify number of the linkage, how engagement and performance are interrelated, what are different factors. However, rather than understanding what are those factors, the focus should be how HR analytics can be utilized on identifying those factors. Now, there may be some generic factor and some factor may be peculiar to the organization. So each and every organization may have their some of the unique factors, and it's the task of HR to identify those factors which are peculiar to that particular organization. And the number of the way to collect the data, the number of the algorithms are there to understand the data, to provide the insight of the data. Now is the unit 4, which is mainly concerned about the visualization part, the data analysis part. Data analysis, and to some extent with the data we have already covered. So here we will cover these things in much more detail. So first is data analysis, data visualization techniques and effective utilization using tools. So first we need to understand what is data is all about. And the majority of you understand about the data. We always talk about the data. But we should understand that there's a difference between data and information. Data and information both are different things. However, these two are related, and generally these two are used interchangeably. So as far as the things are concerned, data is different from information, but general scenario, these two are used interchangeably. So when I say data is basically raw facts and figure. It consists of numbers, it consists of text, it consists of image, it consists of characters. So this is the data. Data does not become information until and unless it is arranged in a particular form. Now, take what the example of your database. You are having your enrollment with SOL. So the data stored in terms of table consisting of your name, your date of birth, your previous qualification, your mobile number, your email, the subject that you have taken, the course you have taken. So this data is stored in some form of table with fixed number of columns, where each column specifies the different data type, maybe string, maybe character, maybe number. And the data of all the students are stored in the standard format. That is your information. It's not data. So data is simply your mobile number, your email you are submitting to the institute, and institute is placing the data, complete data, in terms of the standard format, the format applicable to all of you. So there are number of rows. With respect to each row, the data is there with respect to each student. So there's a complete table. This become information. So data become information if it is arranged in organized form, and from that organized form we can find some insights. Data itself is having no meaning until and unless it is converted into information. In the same example, I am having mobile number, email ID, your previous qualification, your date of birth, your name. Simply I'm collecting these with respect to each and every student. It become data. It itself is having no meaning until unless I put in terms of clear cut table. Now if I am data in terms of that table, then it is helpful for me to take number of the decision. For example, through that table, I can identify how many students are there in MCOM course, because there is a one column which signifies the course that you have taken. So I can identify all people who are in MCOM. If even within MCOM, we can identify how many students or who are those students who are in semester 1 or semester 2 or semester 3 or semester 4. So data arranged in a particular form, in an organized form, become information. Now data ubiquitous, it means present everywhere. You cannot get rid of data. Even we earlier I talked about data is the fuel of HR analytics process. Without data, no HR analytics will work. So data is very important. And data can be qualitative and quantitative, structured and unstructured. In structured and unstructured, we will talk later on. Initially, it's a qualitative, quantitative. When I am talking in terms of number, 1, 2, 3, all these data is quantitative. When I say in terms of other than number, non-numeric data, like I am talking about text, so that data is qualitative. Data can also be grouped into structured data, unstructured data. Structured data is that data where data is stored in terms of clear-cut tables, where data with respect to each and every record is having fixed number of the columns, which are same for all, records. So that is structured data. So the data with respect to your name, mobile number, your email ID, that is with the institute is a structured data. But think about the data which is at social media. You upload photographs, you upload video. Now video and photo both are having different formats altogether. Fine. When we were talking about your student data, all of the data of all the students are stored in form of table in simple Excel or MS Access or any other database, but it will be in terms of table. So your name, roll number, mobile number, email ID, address, course, etc. These columns are fixed for everyone. Fine. But if you see in terms of social media, it can be video, it can be photograph, it can be Word file, it can be PDF. Fine. It can be number, it can be non-numeric data. You are writing review of the products. Even the words that you are writing with respect to products may vary from person to person. Fine. The like, dislike, all those things are also there. So the data is in different format and it is difficult to store the those different type of data in a common format. That data is known as unstructured data. So unstructured data consists of varied data types and formats, unlike structured data, which is having consistent data types and formats. The understanding of this structured and unstructured is very important in the context of HR analytics, because ultimately you are handling the data, and depending on the data type of the data, whether it's a structured or unstructured or combination of these two, you will apply various type of algorithms and tools. Then when the data is unstructured, we cannot store in a simple same format. So it is very difficult to search and analyze. There is no predefined relationship among these data, unlike the structured data where all relationships are well established. Unstructured data may be stored in terms of documents, social media, videos, audio, etc. So these are some of the examples of unstructured data, like social media. Whatever data is available in social media, the data available on traffic. Traffic, it consists of the some quantitative data as well as the photographs, videos, some text data, etc. So these are some of the examples of unstructured data. Then data analysis, there are different steps of data analysis. Now, earlier we were talking about the entire HR analytic process. Now we are not talking about the HR analytic process, but we are talking about the one part of HR analytic process, that is data analysis. So we collect the data, we analyze the data, and then we get the insight from the data that is to be communicated. So we are concerned about data analysis, a component of the entire HR analytic process. So in general way, whatever data that you want to collect is concerned with some relevant business questions. The data that you want to access, so you want to collect, or if it has already been collected by someone, you want to simply use it. It depends on the question. For example, suppose I want to analyze what is happening on the moon. So I will use the data which has been generated by ISRO with respect to the moon, with respect to the Chandrayaan mission. I will use that data. If my objective is different, if I want to analyze the people preference of SUV in Delhi NCR, so target only those customers who are having interest in SUV. So either they are having SUV, or they are already having SUV, or they want to buy SUV in near future. So if I want to concern about the training need identification of an employee, so the data that I will be taking is with respect to employees, what type of training they've already done, what type of the tasks they are doing right now, and what are the skills gaps needed. So the selection of data depends on the relevant business question. If I'm not concerned about the training development, I'm only concerned about understanding the turnover in our organization. So I will take the data accordingly. I will take all those data which are providing me that how many people have left the organization. Maybe out of those, how many male, how many female. Maybe again depend on the location, whether they are belong to the place where my organization is, or they are from the different places. So in the same way, the question is very, very important in order to select the data. Depending on my requirement, I will select the data. Once I have cleared my business question, then I will collect if data is not available, or if data is available, then I will take the relevant data. For example, my HR department have complete data with them. Now I have to analyze the turnover intention of the people. So I will be taking the data of last few years with respect to turnover, and I may be applying predictive analytics to get who are the people who are about to leave the organization next 1 year. So I am taking that data. Now, when you are collecting the data, data may not be clear. There may be some missing values. The data may be incomplete. There may be noise in the data. The data may not be reliable. There may be some record who are not reliable. So I need to remove those unreliable data. I need to handle those missing values. There may be some outliers. So I need to handle those outliers also. Maybe I'm having complete data in addition to what I was required. So I have to remove those extra data. Fine. So that is the data cleaning task. Once I've cleaned the data, then only I will be applying the analysis on it, and then actionable insights will be taken. So this is the complete process of the data analysis. Here the important thing is that data should be relevant with respect to your business question, and data should be clean, error free, reliable. Then only you will get good insight. Otherwise, it's already we have talked about garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you will give to system will generate something out of nothing. So the importance of data is very, very important. Then some of the aspects when you are concerned about the data, one is you require the right information. Now, what is the right information? Already we have talked about that it is concerned with your requirement. One, it is concerned with your requirement. What is your requirement? Fine. Based on your requirement, you will collect the data, or you will use the data if the data is already available. The same example I have already talked about. Like if you want to study the turnover intention of the people, so accordingly, you will get the data. If you want to study the training need or identification of the people of your employees, accordingly you will get the data. The second question, how to get it? When data is already available, or you need to collect the data. If already available, from where you will get it? Suppose you want to hire some people. Now, in order to hire people, you are having a well-established process. But before that, you want to have access of the data. of that particular person. Suppose my organization is using LinkedIn. So the complete profile of the person is available there. And I have put my advertisement on LinkedIn. The person has applied. So I may be getting data. So there is one way to get the data provided. I fulfill the legal requirement of LinkedIn. In the same way, if I want to hire people, I may take their biodata from some consultant. So in order to your or with respect to your business questions, you need to identify how to get the data. Then you need to assess the quality of data. You will get data, you will get something, but what is the quality of data? Quality may be in terms of the richness of the data, robustness of the data, completeness of the data, consistency of the data. Data should be error free. There should not be missing value, should not be forced. Again, there are number of the aspects. For example, today there are number of the bots are there. You need to check your data is whether your data has been generated by some of the bots. If it has been generated by some of the bots, it is not actual data. So the data is not having any quality and it may not be useful for you. Then another important aspect is asking right questions. I want to understand why people are leaving, and I am getting the data with respect to some other aspects. For example, how the employee have performed at this moment may not be directly relevant. Maybe later stage even the performance will be linked to the turnover intention, but at this stage may not be applicable. Or we can take data like I want to understand why people are living in the organization and I am getting the data. Then last 1 year, so many people have joined. One. Second, this questions is also linked with the strategic objective of the organization and that require expertise. For example, my organization wants to launch a new product in next 2 years. So the strategy is we want our organization to be more innovative. Now this is the thing. This is it. Now this innovation has to be converted in terms of job description. How you will measure the innovation of the people, or it's all about the innovation or some associate things. So we need to ask the right questions with respect to various process of HR. Then these things to some extent we have already talked about. Again, we are talking about that in addition to what data you have to collect, what are the sources, how you will collect it, you need to understand the other different aspects with respect to data. Like biased data, is your biased? Whatever data you are getting is sufficient or not? So based on the your requirement, if suppose you want to assess or you want to predict the turnover intention of the people in next 1 year, or how many people are about to leave in next 1 year. So you are having data of only last year and you are not having any other data. Then because you are not having data of sufficient time period, it is very, very difficult or not possible to assess the number of the people who might live in the organization next 1 year. So data should be sufficient. If, for example, suppose I am measuring cost per hire, it means I need to have data with respect to each and every cost occurred during the recruitment process. If that some of those expenditure is missing or they have been put in another category, another head, then it will not give good picture. Biased. With respect to biasness, some of the aspects that emerged a few days back during Microsoft AI tool, they predicted some negative things with respect to some of the politicians of India as well as other country, and those data was based on the biases. So again, we need to think in terms of the data which is biased or not. Then cost. What is the cost of the data? The data is available to us. Maybe it's having less cost. If we want to buy from some service providers, then it may occur high cost. Or if we will go for collection, again, it may involve cost. So we need to understand what is our budget, to what extent we are getting, or again, measure in terms of ROI, return on investment. If I am occurring so much cost on collection of the data, is it worth spending on this data? will I get more return as compared to the cost that is being incurred? Then clean already we have talked about, structured, unstructured already we have talked about, simple or complicated. Again, accordingly, if the data is simple or complicated, you need to identify the number of the algorithms, and KISS rule is very applicable almost at everywhere. Keep it simple, stupid. So rather than making things more and more complex, we need to make it as simple as possible. We need to make things very simple. So sometimes it becomes our habit to think, even to think in a complex manner. Just we need to control ourselves in such scenario. We need to provide the solution, focus it on solution, and try to identify solution with taking the simple steps. Then another important thing is with respect to data are techniques, outliers, assumptions. So techniques, what are techniques that you will be applying to understand data, to get insights of the data? For example, if I want to do clustering, or I want to make my data into different groups, I want to make my employees in different performance category. So I will do clustering. Now there are different algorithms are available with respect to clustering. How will you do it? Which type of technique would you like to use? What techniques you will be using? Then outliers very important things which provide the wrong outcomes. It affect results. So we need to remove outliers. Then assumptions. What are the assumptions that we are taking? Now we say, and everybody talks about predictive analytics, it will happen in this future, but there is an assumption behind this, and you should be very clear about this assumptions. What is that assumption? That future will contribute to be like the past. So what are the conditions were there in the past? The same conditions will prevail in the future too also. Fine. So if my people have left the organization last 3 years, and I am predicting how many people are about to leave in the next 1 year, it means I am assuming the same condition which were there in last 3 years will prevail in next 1 year also. Otherwise, it may go wrong. So while applying, techniques are there. Techniques are again models. They use data. They are having their own way of predicting. But it's you who have to apply your mind, whether the outcome is good enough or there are some constraints or the situation has changed. For example, you are having data of leaving the organization starting from 2015 to 2016, 17, 18, 19, and now you are predicting that those people likely number of the people who would like to leave the organization next 1 year means 2020. But suddenly there is COVID-19 and the situation is entirely different, and the accuracy of predictive analytics may go completely wrong. So in order to use the data, in order to apply a number of the algorithms, in order to get insights, in order to interpret those findings, you should be very clear that what are those assumptions you are taking. Another assumptions could be that in last 3 years your organization has not expanded working in the same way. If your organization is expanding in a different way next 1 year, maybe some merger equation is taking place, again the scenario could be different. So you should be very clear about these assumptions. And another important thing, conditions for assumptions being invalid. You should be very clear what are those conditions under which the assumptions that you are making may not be valid. Like if you are starting from the date of 2015 to 2019, as discussed earlier, with respect to the people leaving the organization, your assumptions might go wrong because the condition changed in 2020 where there was COVID-19. Then causative variables error term. Okay, again the same example. We are taking the data of last 3 years, 2021, 2022, 2023, and we are predicting the number of people who are about to leave in the organization and assuming that turnover rate is very low. But suddenly there is a change in the leadership position, and the leader or the manager or the new CEO is very autocratic, not participative. different from the culture that your organization has created over a period of time. Again, the environment is changing. There's different variables are playing their roles. So you should be very, very clear about it while making some insights. Then another important aspect, you are very good person in order to understanding these insights, but you are very, very poor in presenting those things. So that is again important phenomena. It's good to find insight, but again, way of communication, how you can pursue others when you are presenting your findings or insights taking from HR analytics to your top management, then how you are presenting, how you can influence, how you are, it's all your power to influence them. How you are explaining these different assumptions, uncertainty, etc. That again becomes very, very important as far as the HR analytics is concerned. Then data privacy. Data privacy is again important phenomena as far as all type of analytics is concerned. That you talk about data analytics, you talk about business analytics, you talk about HR analytics. Data of the people is becoming very, very critical, and one being part of HR, one need to be very, very sensitive about that data, sensitive in terms of use of this data, so that it doesn't hurt the feelings of the concerned employee as well as the security, so that the people who are outside the organization are not accessing this data, because the data may be used for different purposes. Further, the different ethical and legal obligations. Legal, there are number of the laws are there, acts are there, you need to follow those things. And ethical, or everything cannot be written in terms of law, but ethical things also need to take into consideration. For example, is it okay with your organization to assess the data based on the religion? Okay, we are talking about diversity, we are talking about inclusion, but will it be okay? Again, you need to understand the scenario where your organization is working. What is the purpose of using that data? Where data is for some for bad intention, or it is just for the enhancing the performance of your organization. So again, you need to think in those areas. Then like the data, another important, personally identifiable information, then name, address, Aadhaar number, passport number. Organization might be having all this data with them, but if the data is available to others, so organization need to identify and maintain the security concerns with respect to this data. And generally, they need to answer three key questions. What data is collected? So data has been collected. What type of data is there? It is highly confidential data, or it is a normal data. How is this data stored? And who can access the data? Because if we are storing data in digital platform, in your databases, so we need to provide different access to different people depending on their authorization. A person should not access all of the data of the all the employees. And further, the people may try to invade the privacy of others. So concerned security measures, legal measures are also to be there. Then data integrity. Data integrity concerned with the completeness of data. If I am taking data, it should be complete, it should be accurate. The quality of data should be high. Fine. Now, Anil Goswami, having three or four databases, and you are taking one of them. At one place, my name is Anil K. Goswami. Another place, my name is A. K. Goswami. Third person says Anil Kumar Goswami. Fourth says Anil Kumar. Fifth says Anil Goswami. Another person says Dr. Anil Kumar Goswami. Now you see the same name can be written different way. So when you are talking about data integrity, there should be consistency also. The data should not be inconsistent across various formats. Then we should avoid human error. Suddenly, a row is deleted. It is very big thing because you are losing the data. You are not having complete data. You need to take care of those things. Collection error. When data is collected, there is some inaccuracy. Maybe you have collected data and the person who are writing on the sheet, he or she written wrong mobile number. It's all about typing. Like we do many times on WhatsApp, that number of the errors are there. I am writing my email, suddenly Anil K. Goswami, K is missing. So collection error, we should avoid those collection error. Then cyber security, we need to concern about the security of my data. Now, next topic is data visualization techniques. Now we are having data. One of the type of analytics was descriptive analytics, in which we simply describe the data. And when I say I'm describing the data, all of you know that if I am describing data, I can describe data in a simple paragraph format. I can write a report and I can submit it to the concerned stakeholders. But do you think it is a useful thing? If we apply these things, the same thing to us, we will be more receptive if the data is being presented in a proper form rather than writing each and every aspect. That's why the visual techniques have emerged. The data, when it has been shown in terms of various diagrams, various graphs, it is more receptive on the part of listener as compared to when data is simply written in terms of paragraph, in terms of sentences or lines. So there are number of the data visualization techniques, and one of them very, very popular, very, very powerful are charts and scattered plot. Chart can be done in a different way, in many ways. Same thing can be present in column chart or the pie diagram or the line chart. All all things provide a different visualization effect. Fine. For example, pie chart, the sum of all those data is 100 if we are taking in terms of percentage, or it's 1 if we are taking in terms of that my minimum value is 0, maximum value is 1. So in this chart, the pie chart, the blue color is showing the maximum share. So simply by seeing the chart, my interpretation is that whatever data is being represented by this blue part of this pie chart is having maximum share. What are those said? It will depend on the data being that will be shown on this diagram. Otherwise, simply by seeing, I can say that this blue part is having maximum share because it is covering the maximum area. If I consider the complete area of this circle as 100%, so blue part is covering the maximum area. Fine. So now if the same thing is happening, I may not get instant interpretation of the data being shown here. So that is the beauty of these different type of charts. Like in the column chart, the data which has been shown by orange, I know it is having the highest value. Rather than applying my mind on so many data, simple, very simple. And the column given by this green is having the least value. So simply by seeing this column, I can have visualization of all these different aspects. The scatter plot can also be in terms of line. So this help to provide the flow. For example, suppose on n-axis there are years and on y-axis there are sales, and sales with respect to 3 products. One is being shown by this blue, then green, and then yellow. So simply by seeing this graph, I can say that the sale of the product shown by green line is declining. The sale shown by yellow line, the item shown by yellow line, sale incline, then decline, then again incline. And the sale of the product being shown by the blue line increased, then decreased. So increase and decrease in the same way. It would be difficult for me to interpret if this would have been given in terms of table or even in terms of text or even in terms of table. But in diagram, I can easily visualize the things. So the different way of data visualization techniques: column chart, pie chart, line chart, bar chart, area. Fine. So these are some of the visual techniques. Then like this, charts internal, external, higher, offer accepted. Simply by seeing this chart, I can simply see that very few people have accepted the offer. This offer decline is 1.7%. So all other have accepted the offers. So majority of the people, more than 98% people have accepted the offer. Only 1.7% have declined. So just simply by seeing this graph, I can simply interpret accordingly. Then heat maps, like it is shown with one example on these x-axis. There are different departments: senior leadership, project management, finance and accounting, information technology, procurement, human resource, sales and marketing, and planning and integration. And I am mapping these different departments with respect to their capability. Capability in terms of teamwork, in terms of communication skill, problem solving, leadership, time management, cross-disciplinary skills, technical skills, etc. Now, one way could be that I can take a scale from 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. That team with that's your teamwork, senior leadership may be having high value or low value. So I can write 10 or 1 if it is having high value, team 10, and low value 1. But when we see number, it will be difficult to visualize, difficult to interpret. So another way, simply showing the different columns, different boxes with different colors depending on the strength of that particular capability. So in the diagram, it has shown two colors. One is capability map, capability gap, and high capability. And in the same way, all different intermediate colors can also be given the relative value. So let us focus only about the blue color. So I can easily see the blue colors, dark blue, at different places. And I can easily say that senior leadership are high capability with respect to communication skills, with respect to leadership, to just little bit lower than this dark blue color. So pro discipline skills, technical skills. If I talk about IT team, IT team also having high capability with respect to communication skill, but there may be capability gap. There may be capability gap with respect to the teamwork in procurement department. So this is another way of data visualization technique, heat maps. Then matrix diagram. You are having different projects managers. So the different projects are running and under the different departments, and where the cross functional team are there. So how you represent that thing? So matrix diagram is there. Generally, it is a type of matrix organization when people are working differently. People are working in number of the projects. They belong to different departments, but as a team, they are working together in different projects. So how you will show those people? So one of the way of providing visualization of such type of structure is matrix diagram. Now, just for your understanding, taking one example, project manager one is there, and in his team there are 4 persons. One from marketing team, marketing department. So marketing staff is there, who is reporting to marketing manager on one side. That is his functional hierarchy with respect to particular function. All persons who are working in their marketing will be reporting to marketing managers. But as far as the projects are concerned, there is a project hierarchy also. So marketing staff, in addition to reporting to marketing manager, as far as the functional department is concerned, he or she is also reporting to project manager one. So because he or she is a part of the team project one, which is being headed by one manager. We know a project manager one. In the same way, in the team of project one, there is another R&D staff who is also reporting to R&D manager as well as this project manager one. So this is again, matrix diagrams are another important ways with respect to data visualization regarding HR. Now, dashboard, very, very important. Data visualization techniques. We are talking about data visualization techniques. We will discuss dashboard separately also, but here just providing you the visualization. Now, the number of the things with respect to HR are being represented in the same, in the one window, and see the representation, how they are representing it. For example, in the top left corner, employee count is there and is showing attrition count. So from this data, I can simply identify the attrition count to 37 out of 1470, and my attrition rate is 16.12%. So active employees 1233. Average age of my employee 37. All these things are on just click away. So based on just click of my mouse, I can see all those things, and attrition by gender wise is shown top right corner. Female 87 and male 150. I can convert it in terms of percentage also. Fine. So the data which were earlier in some form of report, or it was there in terms some form of tables where it was difficult to understand. Now dashboard provides a way to understand the data in a very simple way. Now, rather than going into the table where I will be counting how many females are there with respect to attritions and how many male are there with respect to attrition, I simply go to table and count. It is difficult. So the dashboard again provide important way of visualizing the data, where we can easily understand the data. And below, department by attrition is also given. Right? So simply by seeing there, you can see that the 56.12% belongs to HR department. So attrition rate is very, very high in HR department. Not in HR department, it's in R&D department. HR department only 5.06. So R&D department, the attrition rate is very, very high, 13.3%, followed by sales department. So 38.82. Now see, in the same window, we can see so many things. Now you might be thinking that this has been shown. If there is some change, the dashboard is updated automatically. You can apply number of the filters. If there are some changes in the data, those changes are easily reflected on this dashboard. Fine. The pie charts are also given, the column chart also being given. So number of the data are shown here. Then number of the tools are there with respect to HR analytics. Softwares are there. These are some of the key tools which are used in HR analytics. As far as language are concerned, this language provide you more and more flexibility. These two are important language, R language and Python language, and these two are very, very simple language. This provide you flexibility, but you require some effort as compared to the softwares like the Tableau, IBM is SPSS, but it provides you the flexibility. You can design everything as per your requirement. And now in current scenario, these languages are very, very supportive in the sense that earlier all things, numbers of algorithms, if you want to implement, you needed to write each and every line by yourself. Today, number of the libraries are available. You simply need to call that particular function. And even in current scenario, the number of the tools which Gen AI tools which are also providing, which are also helping the coders to write the code. So you can simply write your requirement and you will get the complete code with you. So tools are available. The important thing on your part, how to apply those things so that we can get insights and it will be helpful for us to achieve our strategic goal. That is the important, most important thing. No tools. Tools are there. You can easily do all HR analytics thing in these tools. As far as softwares are concerned, very, very simple software, Microsoft Excel, but it is as simple. It is very, very simple, but also very, very powerful tool. Number of the tasks with respect to HR analytics can easily be done in Microsoft Excel. Then Power BI, another important software, mainly for the dashboard. For dashboard, Tableau is also there. So Tableau, Power BI, these two are very, very important software with respect to analytics, HR analytics. Then this dashboard that being shown here, it has been written in Tableau software. Now you can see the power of the Tableau, and you can create multiple dashboard for multiple requirement. For example, one dashboard with respect to employee, another dashboard I can make with respect to completely for training and development. Third, maybe for compensation. So I can have the multiple dashboard, and these dashboards are developed in Tableau. Then IBM SPSS, again very powerful tool with respect to number of the analysis, regression analysis, factor analysis, clustering, classification, number of the things can be done in SPSS. So predictive analytics based on the past data can easily be done in SPSS. We are having data, we can develop the models. So SPSS is another important tool. Then IBM iLog Simplex Optimizer, they are the another important tool. VGR, Chat Hope. So tools are available. They are the key tools. It may not be feasible to list down all the tools. So, but these are the most widely used tools. R language, Python language, two important languages are there. Then Microsoft Excel, Power BI, Tableau, SPSS. These are the most widely used tools with respect to HR analytics. Then what are common pitfalls associated with data visualization? We know data visualization is very important component of HR analytics or in any other applications also. But do you think it's so simple? Again, tools provide you the way to develop these visualization, but again, it's your common sense and your expertise and your creativity. So even with respect to these simple visualization techniques, these techniques are not so complex. However, it depends on you, how you are using these techniques. So we will be talking about common pitfalls associated with data visualization techniques, and just try to apply your mind. Just try to understand what are the problems with respect to these visualization techniques. Now, this is the first one, known as misleading color contrast. How? Now, if you see below this diagram, they are percent identifying as white, 0%, 25%, 50%, 75%, 100%. So if the color is red, it is 0% with respect to some of the phenomena which is being depicted in this diagram. But what about the between 0% to 25%, there are number of the colors. So how will you say that the intermediate color is having what type of value? Which value? It is 10%, 12%, 15%. What is that value? Because the data has been shown in the continuum form. It could be better if the percentage could have given with respect to the boxes of different color. So the number of the colors that have been used in this diagram, if we can provide the percentage with respect to all those colors, it would be easy rather than providing this in terms of continuum where it is difficult. For example, what is the percentage of light blue? I may, based on data, based on this scale, I may think it will be somewhere 55, but may not be completely true. Fine, may not be completely true. I may not be completely right. I am just making assessment based on the distance between 50% and 75%. In the same way, the yellow one and the green one, light green one, 25% is shown. Now, it's 25 for yellow also, for green also. So there confusion. This confusion should not be there as far as the visualization is concerned. Then see, the person who made this, it seemed that he or she wanted to put all the information in a single diagram. It is very bad approach. So overwhelming chart with too much data. If the data is too much, it is difficult for us to understand and appreciate it. So you should put data in terms of paragraph, in terms of graphs, in terms of charts, in terms of heat map, to the extent it is easily understandable and visible to the targeted audience. So this is the second problem with respect to the visualization. Third is omitting baseline and truncating scale. Now see the image given above. If suddenly I'm seeing, my first impression is that this whatever had been shown in this red color is twice or thrice the attribute which is being shown with respect to the blue color. So here red color is showing that how many people are willing or are agreeing that should Britain leave European Union or not. So if I see the above diagram, and generally we see diagram first, we see color first. So my first interpretation is that thrice of the people are willing to leave EU. So there are people who want that Britain should be with EU. The number of the people who are in opposition to this are thrice. But when I see numbers 39%, 43%, then I know that my interpretation is very, very wrong. Now, what is the problem? Because we have not taken zero into consideration. We are not taking data from 0%. If you see on the left hand side, on y-axis, the data is being started 37%. So this is not a right approach. And below is given the actual thing. So if I see the below picture, I can simply understand there is no major difference between these two. Just by seeing these two colors, red and blue. Fine. So that's the power of the visualization. These two are the bar, and there's no major difference between these two. Almost neck to neck comparison is there. Unless I see that 39%, 43%, then I can find there are 4% difference. Fine. So this is another important thing one should remember as far as the visualization is concerned. Then choosing the wrong visualization method. Sometimes, depending on our data, we need to understand that all type of chart do not fit in each and every scenario. For example, there are three candidates and all these three candidates are independent to each other. So opinions were asked from the number of the persons, and all these three are giving their opinion. It's not mutually exclusive. So if suppose they are asking data from me that who is your favorable, Palin or Romney, I may say Palin, not Romney. That's a different thing. Here data is not collected in this way. They're asking me, Palin is your favorable or not? I am saying my favorable. Then independent of Palin, they're also asking me, Romney is your favorable? I am saying Romney is my favorable. I may have two favorable. It's not mutually exclusive. They are not asking that you have to choose between Palin and Romney. So I will be putting bar chart with respect to these three which are independent of each other. If they are independent of each other, I cannot put them in a single pie chart, because even the another mathematical mistake, the pie chart, the complete area is 100%. If you see Romney 60%, that 63%, 70%, you yourself can see it's more than 100%. So pie chart is not a good chart if you are providing such type of data. So you should be very, very careful by using the chart. Which chart you want to use, it depends on your data. It depends on your requirement. It depends what exactly you want to project. So thing with respect to visualization, again, I am okay. Let me put in a different way. It's all about the creativity. Something you need to know, some basics you should be very, very clear. Apart from that, it's all about your creativity. Like what type of color would you like to take? It depends on your creativity. For me, it may be red. For you, it may be blue. But the person who is intelligent, who is creative, the person will use the color combination in such a way so that it will attract majority of the audience. In the same way, the font, what size of font you should have while visualizing the data. Again, it depends on creativity, the understanding, the experience. If my audience are senior citizens, a person who is age 55 plus, they are having problems with their eye, they are using spectacles. So I need to provide some the size of font more. Unlike the person who are student level who are just joined the organization, the font size, the less with the less number may also work. So again, it depends on my creativity, my understanding of the problem, my audience, then label from you're putting label in the, for example, like if you see in this diagram on the x-axis and y-axis in the diagram below 1, no percentage has been mentioned. So no label is there. Now, is it okay? Can I consider it percentage or it can be number also? Fine. So you should be very careful that there should be complete data. Now, in diagram, 43% is written, but on the y-axis, it's a 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. No percentage is given. Fine. Here, the font is so small, I cannot see. I cannot read. Fine. Now, icons, what type of icons would you like to use? Again, depending on creativity. Shape, what type of shape you will be using for your visualization purpose. So it's all about creativity. How you want to make your visualization interesting so that other people will be willing to see these things. Right? So visualization is more art as compared to understanding the concept. Another thing, zooming in on favorable data. Again, it's a data. It depends on me how I want project it. And the main thing, one should not manipulate with the data. Data should be clearly visible in an actual form. Now, if you see the above diagram, I'm starting my data from April and it is showing, take the example of, suppose we take its example of sale. Fine. So if you go with the above diagram, your management will be very, very happy. Oh, wow. Starting from April, May, June, my sale is increasing. So I'm very, very happy. You have done wonderful job. My marketing team has done wonderful job. But they are forgetting that this is not the complete story. If you go the complete story and you go below 1, then you will understand that it's not, my sale is not increasing, but it's a declining. It increased for some period of time, somewhere April, May, and June. But overall, it is declining. So again, it depends how you are projecting your data. Data may be misleading, like in this diagram. Fine. So this is another important pitfalls associated with data visualizations. Now, another thing is driving insights out of HR analytics, mainly how HR analytics is affecting your decision-making process. Fine. So remember one thing, HR analytics is not having magic in itself. HR analytics will provided you want to make effective utilization of it. It can provide you the data that you want. It can provide you insight provided you want that insight. It can help you. It is not having magic in itself. So the important thing with respect to if making effective use of HR analytics, one should know very clearly what he or she wants to achieve from this HR analytics. Whether they simply want to put the data like the descriptive analytics or they want to provide the linkage of HR analytics with the entire organization. They want to link HR analytics with uh, in order to achieve the strategic objective of the organization. So it depends on the person who is driving the HR analytics. The same car can be handled differently by the different experts. The same car, one may not be using complete power of that particular car and another is using the complete power of that car. It depends on the concerned person, the experts who are using this HR analytics in this case. Then another thing is interpret the insights and take actionable steps. Okay, you are having data with you. You have applied analytics on it. You have got good insights. It is of no use until and unless you interpret it in a proper way. Interpretation is a very, very important thing with respect to HR analytics. Insights are there, but you need to interpret insights in your perspective. And not only just interpreting, ultimately it has to be put into practice. So actionable steps need to be taken. Without having actions, it is of no use. It's like you have bought a Mercedes car, it's in your garage, and you are not driving this car. So you are having very good car, very a luxury car with you, but you are not making its use at all. In the similar way, HR analytics may provide insight, but the another important aspect, in addition to getting the insight, is to interpret the things in your perspective and then putting those interpretation into actual actionable steps. Then you should be very, very clear, or HR team should be very, very clear how to use people analytics to impact business performance. It's not about only about HR. Okay, I am simply computing cost per hire, but I should be more concerned, or I should be mainly concerned. It's the right word. I should be mainly concerned whatever I am doing as a part of HR analytics, how it is affecting business performance. Ultimately, everything is directed towards the achieving strategic objective, and one of them is enhancing business performance, which is linked to the profit maximization. Enhancing the profit, reducing the cost, customer satisfaction, increasing my market share. So all different aspects covered under HR analytics or people analytics should have impact on business performance. So it is the task of the persons involved in HR analytics that how it can be utilized to enhance business performance. Then set more responsible data practice. Data is there, but it's all about the culture. So we say data driven decision making culture. Data is there, but it should be done in a responsible way. When I am saying responsible way, it can carry the different meanings. One of the meaning, one should make effective and efficient utilization of data. If you are having data with you, it is a treasure with you, and you should make utilization of this. Second, the person who are handling the data, they should be very clear about the quality of data, the completeness of the data, there's ethical concerns of the data. Data should not be manipulated. So those ethical concerns also should be taken into consideration. Then the data belongs to employee. The data may consist of some confidential things. So you should be very, very careful in order to handle that data. One should protect the data privacy. One should protect the privacy of the employees. The data should be utilized in such a way that it uh, does not challenge the legal ways of handling the data, or does not go against those legal and ethical things. So one should concern about responsible data practice. Then insights from the data, it helps. It helps in many things. It helps in many things. Like already we have talked about in last 3 units, it helps in enhancing hiring practices, recruitment. If you are using data in a proper way, you will be uh, hiring good people with you. You will be reducing the expenditure incurred in the hiring. It will help to have good learning and development environment, the growth of the employee engagement. Uh, this will help for to increase employee retention and reduce turnover, increase diversity. If the people are coming from different diverse background, it will they will be assets to the organization. because they are bringing different perspective into the organization. For example, a very simple example, you are having one product with you and you want to launch this product, let us say in India, you want to launch this product in India. Now, if you are having people from different cultural background in your team, maybe one from in North India, maybe one from South India, maybe one from Northeast India, maybe one from typical Western part or typical Northern part, or depending on the different culture background, you are having diverse team. So if you want to assess your product with respect to different customer segment, your team will be having very rich experience and you can get very, very rich insights about that particular product. Fine. So diversity is very, very important phenomena. And based on the data, you can increase the diversity, which will help you in innovation as well. Advanced learning and development. HR analytics will provide this. All this can be done using this data. The what type of trainings are needed to your employees. If employee is at current state, tomorrow he or she will move towards the higher in the hierarchy. So if they will move higher in the hierarchy, what are the competencies which are needed at that level? So right now we can identify the competency gap and we can provide training to those people in order to fill that gap. Further, it may happen that the promotion is for the key positions where all people cannot be promoted to that position. So there may be some peculiar competencies and skills required for that particular post, or for example head of the department, and all employees cannot be head of department. So you can identify the key talents. You can identify those key persons who might be filling that post in future. So rather than focusing on the all employees with respect to a particular position, focus only on those employees who are having capabilities and or there may be some gap. So, but they are capable to fill that gap. So the target oriented learning and development can be done, or these programs can be customized as per needs of the employees. So it is very, very helpful in succession planning, this type of analytics. Then optimize workforce planning, how many people I am having, whether they are completely involved in the task or we are having lack of manpower or surplus of manpower. So all those things again can be done with HR analytics. Then increase productivity and performance. Now, this is the diagram that already we have talked about many times in different way. At the very beginning of the session, I talked about in terms of input, process, output. Now just see this diagram. First is the objective and business goals. What an organization wants to achieve. Fine. In order to achieve this, in order to achieve the objective of the organization, what type of matrices are needed? How these metrics will be calculated? So based on the data, these metrics are calculated, which will provide these insights. So insights are being generated from the data from using these matrices, and metrics are simple outcomes, and those outcomes are to be interpreted accordingly. And once those outcomes are have been interpreted, it has become insights, and these insights are to be used in actual action. So this is the complete flow, how HR analytics providing the insights which will help in achieving the objectives of the organization. The unit 4 has been completed. Now I am going to start last unit. The last unit of your HR analytics syllabus. So we have covered unit number 1, introduction to HR analytics, then approaches to data analytics, dynamics of HR metric, data mining techniques, in which we last unit we talked about the basic data analysis flow, then there are different way of visualizing the data, and then a common pitfalls associated with data visualization. And the last we talked about how HR analytics is driving insights and contributing towards achieving the objectives of organizations. Now, the last unit is decision making based on the analytics. And this is touching some important aspects like data driven culture in the organization, predictive modeling. So it is talking about those aspects which are very critical as far as the organization is concerned. And one is data driven culture. So before that, you should understand what is culture in an organization. So culture is all about the collective feeling. Culture is not individual phenomena. It's the group phenomena, it's a team phenomena, it's an organization phenomena, or it's a collective phenomena where all people collectively thinking about some organization. So if we all people are working in organization, we can think collectively. It's a collective programming of mind. It's a collective feeling. So collectively, how we are feeling about the organization, whether the organization is good or not, whether we are happy or not, whether people are helping each other or not, whether people are focusing on their task or not, whether people are coming late or they are coming on the time, whether people are having helping nature or not, whether all are concerned with that achieving the targets or they are concerned only achieving their own individual targets, where they are thinking about the organization or they are thinking about themselves. It's all part of the culture. Fine. So culture is very generic phenomena. It's in the organization, take it out from the organization. And there are different aspects of the culture. One aspect of the culture that we are talking in this class is data driven culture. Data driven culture is with respect to decision making. Like in the very first lecture, we talked about the use of intuition in decision making. There are number of the biases in decision making, and then we covered number of the things. Just bringing those things in this perspective in very simple way. So in an there is an organization. The main objective of the organization is to earn the profit by means of creating some new products and services. We are talking about private organization, and in order to develop those new products and services, it requires some decision to be taken. Decisions are taken at various levels in the organizations, and one of the way taken decisions is based on my experience, my intuitions, and just based on my own biases. And almost all of the people in the organization are like that. We are talking with each other based on our common understanding, based on our intuition. We are taking decisions based on uh, uh, our understanding and available information. We are taking decisions. That is the culture, not data driven. But when we talk about the use of data in all type of decision, maybe on day-to-day basis, maybe operational decisions, maybe strategic decisions, maybe tactical decisions, then it is known as data-driven culture. So data-driven culture is a culture in organization where people are having focus on the data in order to make decisions. So decisions are to be driven from the data. So in terms of definition, it is an organizational environment where data is not only valued, but it's also readily accessible and used consistently to drive decision-making process. It means whatever decisions are taken, all those decisions are based on the data. So data is valued. Data is accessible to all concerned persons who are making decisions, and it is not one time. Okay, at particular day I have taken decision based on the data, but on the other day I am taking a decision like in a traditional way. No, there should be consistency in taking decisions based on the data. So data is valued, data is accessible to all concerned people, and it is used consistently to drive decision making. And when we saw about data driven decision, so we require analytics, how we get insights from the data with the help of analytics. In the case of HR, it becomes HR analytics. In case of other department, maybe some decision has to be taken in production department. So data of HR will not work. The data with respect to production only will work. So it's all about analytics based on the data depending on the problems. Consist of statistics, the number of the tools are available, then factual insights from the factual insights, and those insights have to take the decision. Those insights have to optimize the process. Those insights will help to achieve the organizational objective. So for example, I want to launch new products in next 2 years, and that's why I want to make my organization more innovative. I can hire people. So it provides the strength on part of my recruitment process, and the person will be assessed after 1 year whether he or she is innovative or not. So we can assess the performance of that person, and if the person is innovative, it itself shows the strength on part of my recruitment process. If the person not innovative, it means there is some problem with my recruitment process and I need to improve it. And once the person has done some innovation, it will ultimately help in launching the new product. So we are using the concepts of analytics, the data, and we are applying the analytics on the data to get insight which will be used to accomplish organization goal. This is data driven culture. Have focus is on data, so data literacy is there, data driven insights are there, people are having focus on those things in even taking day-to-day decisions, and those are the regular phenomena, not the exception. Like already we have talked about, there is consistency among it. Fine. And data is not only just confined to few people or the group of data scientists or the person who are storing those data, but everybody in the organization can access the data. However, depending on his or her own requirement, the person may not have complete access to data, but whatever data is required for his or her decision making, that data is completely available to that person. And another important thing is all about the mindset. Like even with respect to HR analytics, a number of the phenomena, it's all about the mindset. And there are the number of the examples in the history that can be given with respect to the mindset. Same thing can be seen differently by the different people. Fine. So even some people may think that we are having so much experience and always we have taken decision based on our intuition and we were always right. Maybe based on experience they are saying, but they need to understand that data is there. If taken care in a proper way, if you are having proper data, complete data, consistent data, reliable data, there are no biases, and you are applying proper analytics on it, you can get a rich, so much rich insights from the data that will ultimately help and that will ultimately add value to your decision making process. So the people need to change their mindset coming from their traditional way of taking a decision towards the use of technology to get insights from the data. And not only when I said data, big data is a part of this, because today we are having more and more focus on big data. So data driven culture is a very, very important phenomena in specifically in contemporary business organization. We cannot think anything without the data. We cannot anything without the use of technology. Even if we are talking about AI, artificial intelligence, and in my organization, I want to make use of it. Again, we need to come back on the data. Any AI system, no AI system can work without the data. It's the fuel to this technology. So data is very, very important. And hence, one should change their mindset to focus on this data. Now, I've taken this from Harvard Business Review, 10 data commandments to help create and sustain a culture with data at its core. So data-driven culture starts at the very top. Like the other important thing also, if top management thinks that data-driven culture should be there, they can impose and people will readily accept it. Then choose metrics with care. There are number of the metrics are available, but what are those metrics which are very, very important for you? There are number of the metrics are there. So you should be very, very clear. What are those metrics which are important for you? You should not be fascinating with the matrices that you will use all this matrix, that matrix, but you should choose only those metrics which are helpful or which are providing insight with respect to your given requirement. Then don't pigeonhole your data scientist. Find a way to fuse domain knowledge, technical know-how. Just don't consider that whatever they have given is the sufficient. You need to provide the domain knowledge or technical know-how. You are the expert. They are simply providing the insights or the processing the data using the algorithm. They are expert in the algorithms. They are expert in data visualization, but they are not expert that what type of the insights you want to have from the data. That is only to be given by the domain expert. For example, I may be very good in handling data. Fine. I may be very good in applying the algorithms on the data. And take example of cricket. Currently, IPL is going on. So we can take the example. Even there are number of the entries are being applied. So I belong to one particular team. I have collected the data in terms of videos, performance of the players of last few years, how they have performed, in which conditions they have performed. I can have the data and I can apply an algorithm. But what exactly, what insights I need to get? I'm not expert. I'm not a cricket player. I'm not the coach of particular team. So if coach wants to improve the performance of particular player, the coach need to tell me we want to have this particular data with respect to particular player, and maybe with respect to his batting, maybe with respect to within the batting, how he is playing a ball with moving outside the off stump, or how he or he is playing ball with leaving the leg stump. Fine. If there is a full length ball, how the player is playing. Now, those are the things where the coach is expert. I'm not expert. I can provide the data. Sorry. I can provide the data only if I am clear what insights I have to extract from the data. In the similar way, they can think in terms of team. Okay, give me the data of the team. If my team has done batting at first, what is its performance? What is performance in first 6 hours? What is its performance last 4 hours? So all those things, the domain knowledge I need to have from the expert. Expert will provide me the requirement. Then fix basic data access issue quickly and quantify uncertainty. Even whatever insight you will be given may not be perfect. That uncertainty involved it. There may be number of assumptions are there. So you should be very, very clear about providing those things. Make proofs of concept simple and robust, not fancy and brittle. So don't use some fancy words. Use the concept as simple as possible. Then specialized training should be offered just in time. Use analytics to help employee, not just customer. So it's not all about the people who are outside the organization, but we also should focus on our employees. HR is doing this thing. So in HR, there is no doubt about it. But in general scenario, in order to create data-driven culture in the organization, the people who are working in the organization, they also need to think about the employee, not only just about the customer. In the case of HR, all employees are their customer. If you can take it that way also, because we HR people are serving to those employees. It's our duty to handle those employees, to provide the motivation, to provide the training and development, to provide their career development plan, to focus on their growth. So for us, we are not interacting with the people outside the organization, unlike the marketing people, where they are interacting with people who are outside the organization, because they have to sell the product to the customer. So for them, who are buying the products are customer, and their task is to serve those customer. HR is serving for employees. HR is not dealing with the customer. HR is not dealing with selling the product to the customer. So HR is concerned with the employees. So in that sense, if we think HR department separately, if in relation to employees of the organization, it means employees are the customer to HR analytics. So we need to have focus on those. Then be willing to trade flexibility for consistency. Sometimes you need to be flexible depending on the scenario, depending on the requirement. Fine. And avoid data tribes. You know what is data tribe? Or group of the people who are thinking in the same way, and they've created some barriers. They don't want to listen to other persons. So those are the data tribe. So avoid data tribes. There you should be very open. We have talked about many things. Data is one aspect, algorithms are other aspects, insights are third aspects. Whether people are accepting those things, fourth aspects, how you are linking it with strategy, fifth aspects. You are having all technologies, but there is no mindset, sixth aspect. The number of the aspects are there. So the important thing is that you should be very flexible. You should be very open to all those things. Then get in the habit of explaining analytic choice. If I am having this data, I want to compute particular matrix. For that matrix, I want to make use of some particular data. I want to apply some particular algorithms. I should have proper explanation for this. It's not that I have to give some output. I have to provide some data. That's why I am doing this. No. Why I am taking this matrix only? What is my end objective? How my end objective is concerned with my organizational objectives. And in order to fulfill that requirement, why only this matrix? Why not other matrix? Maybe this matrix is better with respect to other matrix in this term 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Then with respect to this matrix, why this data? The data is accurate, complete, and if I am getting some insights, why only the particular algorithms? Fine. For example, regression can be done in a simple way, simple linear equation, or you can also apply artificial neural network. Different tools are available, but you should be very clear why simple regression you have to apply or multiple regression you have to apply, and why you want to apply for artificial neural network. What are your choices? How you have chosen those things? You should be very clear about it. So if you are having this thing, it will help in enhancing data-driven culture as well as providing the linkage of HR analytics with the strategic objectives of the organization. Then another important thing is predictive modeling, and we have done some of the aspects like this diagram already we have talked about. Predictive modeling is an important analytics as far as the HR analytics is concerned, because okay, you are using the past data, but what about the future? How this past data is helpful in determining the future? So one should be, it's a very important phenomena as far as the organization is concerned with respect to different ways. Like already we have taken number of examples. One of them is like based on past data, can I predict how many people may be leaving the organization next 1 month or 1 year? Second could be like based on my past data, how many people I am hiring in the next 1 year? Based on past data, I can assess what will be cost implication on the part of salary of the people in next 1 year. So all things from the perspective of HR analytics, predictive analytics, based on past data, can I identify the training needs that people might be having in next 1 year? So predictive analytics is a very important part on the in organization. So some of the key understanding with respect to HR predictive analytics. One is it uses historical data to predict future events. One of the classical example other than HR is that weather forecasting. Almost you get to know on daily basis what is the situation of weather today, whether it will rain or not. Do you think it's a simple formula based on which they are assessing it? They are having data of last so many years, not 1, 2 or 5 or 10 years, maybe 40, 50, 60, 70 years on day-to-day basis, on hourly basis. So they are having this past data, and based on the past data, they are predicting future. What will happen in next 24 hours as far as the weather is concerned, whether it will rain or not. So historical data helps us to predict future events, and that is a known as predictive analytics. In the case of HR, also the same concept applies. We are predicting how many people we require to hire next 1 year based on the past trend. So we are using historical data. What will happen in the future? Again, the application analytics is all about analytics. When we say analytics, it's all about statistics, OR, computer science. Then if we talk in terms of algorithms, other than statistical algorithms, then we talk about machine learning techniques. We talk about artificial intelligence. Within machine learning, we can talk about the artificial neural network. Within artificial neural network, we can talk about the deep learning. Then we are talking about text analytics. We are talking about Gen AI systems, like your chat GPT using those concepts, large language models, small language model, etc., etc. Number of the things are there. So predictive analytics in the area of HR is the practice of using data analysis and modeling techniques to forecast future outcomes and make informed decisions in the field of human resource. This is your predictive modeling. Can be applicable in almost all aspects in HR: recruitment, performance, compensation, training and development, etc. And the simple diagrammatic way of showing this, once we are having what has happened in the past or descriptive, and what is happening now currently, and based on this we can predict the future. So some of the examples in the case of HR: creation of focused pipeline based on past hiring records. So we can make pipeline on the for the next for future, maybe for 6 months, for 1 year, maybe 3 months, depending on the requirement, based on our past hiring records, current standards and future delivery benchmarks. We can also do assessment of quality of hire. We have hired the people. What could be their assessment performance based on the current scenario, and what type of performance they will be having in the future also, whether they are having future leadership potential or not, we can also predict. Then we can predict employee attrition and loyalty, whether the particular person we are about to hire will leave the organization or will stay for us in next few years, for longer period of time or small period of time. Again, those type of analysis can be done in HR analytics. Then whether the person who has joined the organization or who are working the last 1 year, what about his future in terms of whether in terms of absenteeism rate, etc. Then succession planning, we have talked about this succession planning, like you can identify those persons who can be capable. You can identify their training needs also. And Google's is doing this thing. Google's prediction engine is there to predict future outcome in terms of analyzing a job education, skills, and personal trait which are required for a person to join Google. So what type of requirement? Because it's a fast changing industry, IT industry, fast changing industry. Today we are talking about some technology. Tomorrow it may not be useful at all. It may be obsolete. Right? For example, you talk about the simple phone. Nokia was successful. It was having a good market share with respect to mobile phone, but changes was happened so drastically. It reduced its market share exponentially because they may not predict the future. They may not able to change, to accept the changes or to make themselves to be with the changes. So future, anything can happen in terms of technology. So if that changes in the technology with respect to these big firms like Google, fine. So accordingly, they can predict what type of employee skills are required in future, what type of personal traits are required in future, and accordingly, they can apply this concept to hire the people. In the similar way, HP also using this predictive analytics to assess employee turnover, how many people are about to leave, and it depends on the data. If data is available out of the complete out of all the employees, who are those employees who may be leaving your organization in next 1 year. Now dashboard, a very important concept. Already we have talked about this dashboard in a very brief, so on at two places, and now in this we are talking about this HR dashboard, which is very important phenomenon in HR. Like this, I'll talk about this is a visualization of number of the aspects with respect to your HR, number of the employees, attrition, active employees, that qualification of the employees, age-wise classification, whether they are satisfied with the job or not. Even job satisfaction rating is shown in this dashboard. Fine. So number of the analysis can be done and can be effectively shown on this HR analytic dashboards. Like this, I am showing the different example. Now, in the same organization with same data, there can be different dashboard. This is related to employee only. Fine. This is more further detailed. Employee by country also has been added. Fine. And then it is also having this wages compensation with respect to different months. The data is little bit old, belong to 2014. Again, this is with respect to the gender gap, and so on, the management position with respect to male and female. So employee tenure with respect to male and female, everything is with respect to male and female. So there can be different dashboard depending on different requirement within the same organization with the same HR. So HR dashboard is a data visualization tool that allow HR leaders and business users to track, visualize, and analyze HR metrics and KPIs. You know KPIs, key performance indicator, part of HR scorecard. So those KPIs which have been shown in HR scorecard can be effectively shown on HR dashboard. The benefit of HR dashboard, like we have seen this, the data may belong to different way and it is being stored in the same file. Now this data is shown beautifully on a single window. So different type of data can be used to show on the same dashboard. That's why it can combine data from all systems and deeply explore this data directly within the same dashboard. Quickly find insights. For example, suppose I want to know the gender gap. Sorry. I want to know the gender gap. With the help of this dashboard, I can easily see. Even I can easily see with respect to different management positions, with respect to employee turnover. Everything I can easily see. So good visualization. And it can house and track various reports concerning HR. Key capability, fully interactive, It's interactive. You can interact with the dashboard. You can change the view. You can change the data. You can apply number of filters in order to get more and more insight. The data can be taken from various data sources. Automated alerts and reporting. If there's some change in the data, it can provide you automated alerts also. Good data visualization tool. Data real time. Data is updating almost on real time. So if there's some changes in your data, the same thing is reflected on your dashboard. You need not to make it again and again. Unlike the traditional system, when once you have created dashboard, you may require to have some changes. But here it's a real-time data updates. You are seeing key performance indicators, and you can find actionable insight from this HR dashboards. There's some of the KPIs with respect to HR dashboards, or some of the things that can effectively be shown on HR dashboards. So like I already told you, there can be different dashboards with respect to different functions of the HR. Like one dashboard can be for recruitment only. So all data related to recruitment can be shown on one dashboard. All data related to employee performance can be shown on different dashboards. All data related to workforce demographic can be shown on different dashboards. So thing can be done in this way. Like the recruitment dashboards, like the analysis of employees, diversity, equity, inclusion. Now we also use one word, belongingness. So the dashboard both that. Then headcounts, demographics. This is all about unit number 5. So we have completed this complete syllabus in last 5 hours. If anybody is having any doubt, he or she can ask before we end the session. So I'm stopping the recording now.